We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 365. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week is the undisputed scholar himself, Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how is your evening going, sir?
It is going. Enjoying some Rampage on this episode of Scholars of Wrestling, even though we're going to be talking about War Games later tonight.
Also joining us this week is the one and only Scholar Brian. Scholar Brian, how are you doing, sir?
Don't know how to feel because it's the first time going into an NXT War Games where I'm going meh. That's it.
You're just the shrug.
And last but certainly not least, the current reigning, not defending this time, thankfully, Scholars of Wrestling world champion himself and the Scholars of Wrestling party champion. Yes, he retained them both. The one and only Scholar Charlie. Scholar Charlie, how are you doing this evening, sir? And how are your shoulders from carrying all that gold?
Well, as you can see, I'm only carrying one gold now. The other one is safely snug in my apartment. I am
Brian,
also
I'm convinced.
What?
Brian, I'm convinced. Like, did you notice how Jeff was so enthusiastic on talking about Charlie two belts there? Did he ever really do that when we both had the two belts?
No, I don't think he did.
The answer is no. No, I did not.
Hi, Charlie, you're getting some very high praise from
Awesome.
Scholar Jeff right now.
AKA any praise at all? Is that what you're really saying?
I too am
No,
going
man. Compared to when we held the belts, that is just super high praise you're giving to Charlie.
AKA any praise at all. Okay, gotcha.
I too am going into work.
I'm kind of noticing a little brown on those lips of yours, fool.
It's the coffee and hot chocolate from my town's tree lighting, I swear. But anyway, speaking of whatever that means.
As I was saying, I too am completely going into War Games blind and also feeling very meh about it. Hence why my lovely championship won't be on the line.
This time,
the
anyway.
reason your championship is on the line is because we don't want to win it on a lowly pay-per-view like this. That's it.
Speak for yourself. I don't care what pay-per-view it is. If I got shot, I'm taking it.
If it was any good, me and Tarek would have been up your ass the entire last 2 weeks.
Hey, man, I'm just happy the fact that with last Survivor Series, I was managing to actually come back after that horrible beginning of predictions to actually share the winner's circle with Charlie there.
Yeah, the moment
it felt good. It's like, oh no, it's going to be one of those pay-per-views. Oh, good, I came back. Thank you, Bianca Belair, for helping me tie.
I thought I had a chance until it got to the women's Survivor Series, and it got to Bianca Belair versus 4 of SmackDown, and I'm like, she's got her Roman Reigns. I'm done. I'm out.
Oh, look, one of Roman Reigns' golden stars.
Well, golden stars notwithstanding, before we get into our predictions for the upcoming NXT War Games, we have a little something in a little segment we need to call Backstage News.
Indeed, we shall go ahead, peek behind that curtain once again, as we do every week, but we didn't have an episode last week. So every time we actually do record an episode of Scholars of Wrestling, checking in on a little
Backstage
News.
War Games, man.
I don't know where I'm pointing, Matt. But yes, it is time for a little backstage news, and just announced we have coming up down the line, we've got WWE Next in Line. From what I've been reading, this apparently is a drafting program for college athletes in order to turn them into WWE wrestlers, allowing them to come and work out and try out at the Performance Center. Apparently, there are other professional sports that have programs like this that allow college athletes to start building their brand, if that makes sense. This is really the first time I've ever heard anything like this. Fool, I guess we'll kick it off to you since I'm hearing some nodding and such. What do you think of programs like these, and where do you see WWE going with this?
It's actually a very interesting program, as considering others, at least I believe football does this. It's a very interesting idea. I mean, they kind of had their first person with Gable Stevenson coming to WWE. It's pretty much I'm trying to think of the word, like the first person to really be a part of that program. Where do I really see this? Considering how WWE has kind of been really pushing like their new ways of looking at getting younger talent, I'm not really fully convinced that it's going to be as successful as they're hoping it would be. I mean, like I said, it's actually a pretty good idea. To say that it's a good business idea. I just don't see it really working the way they're thinking. Trying to think. It's just really hard for me to really see a company like WWE like really think about like where do they go with these kids that they get from college, and will these be the people that will main event WrestleMania, as Vince McMahon is wanting with like how he has NXT 2.0. Are people even going to be wanting to be a part of a company that in 6 months, you're not even guaranteed that you're actually going to have a contract with them? So this year, as WWE's just shown that they're just, when it comes to a business sense, they're very untrustworthy. So good idea in writing. I just think WWE is not exactly the best company to be as faithful for people who are getting out of college wanting to be a professional wrestler, or in their case, a sports entertainer.
Yeah, that's one thing I find very interesting about what we've been seeing out of WWE for the past few months, where they almost seem to be doubling down entirely on their perceived booking and training and just all their system as a whole, completely rejecting the indie scene as a whole and building everyone up from the inside up. It just strikes me as being very, very interesting, where it's not what I typically associate with the kind of wrestling that I like, but I think about like the Kurt Angles of the world, and I'm like, it's technically possible, but you bring up an interesting point where who really knows how the WWE of the modern day is going to be perceived by college athletes of tomorrow. Pitch it over to Charlie or Brian. Any thoughts or reflections on this whole WWE Next in Line program?
I agree with Tarek. Just because it looks good on paper doesn't mean that the follow through will be there.
In theory, this is a very good idea, piggybacking off of Tarek's statement, because you're having athletes come in out of college. You can build them up through your system, and as Jeff said, you've got prime real estate, and you have proof in Kurt Angle. And if Gabe Steveson is any bit as adaptable as Kurt Angle is, then that's two prime examples of how that can work here. However, okay, you also have to take into account that the last, you guys are talking about the last year as if the WWE and what they've been doing this year is new. It's just this year has been over the top, but they've been doing this for a little while now, where it's like the talent that they bring in, the talent like if Braun Strowman, homegrown talent. They bought him up through their system. They threw him on TV. It was a trial by fire, and they got bored of him after 2 years. So it's in some cases it works. In some cases, it's the WWE themselves that shoot themselves in the foot. So basically going through all the statements, we basically all agree that in theory, next in line is a very good idea and should be implemented in every company under the sun. It's just the fact that the WWE themselves have not proven that they'd be able to do anything good with the talent that comes through the performance center doors. So I'm skeptical at best.
Very interesting.
But it's also like to consider the fact that it's like I actually how I ended it when on my part, trying to get these kids out of these athletes out of college to prepare for this, to join a company where really wrestling is kind of the last thing on their minds. They're more soap opera than actual wrestling. So it's also just the question on are they also going to give these guys like acting courses to help with their mic skills, promo classes, just to help them sit so they can actually develop characters and not just be generic 27 in a video game.
I believe that I believe that's part of the program they've got over at the Performance Center, like promo classes and all that stuff. So there's no doubt that they absolutely would consider that stuff. Like you said, Fool, I believe right now the question is how effective is this structure going to actually be in order to build new stars and to make their current programming better?
Good luck.
I hope it works, because they need an injection of something, anything at this point.
Wait, you know what?
I want to be as like, I guess as optimistic as you guys are about it, because when it comes to basically having them in their in-ring skills, I don't have a problem. I don't think it's going to be a problem at all, because that's something WWE doesn't have a problem with. When it comes to their wrestlers, it's actually like they have no problem at all. They have great wrestlers under their wing, and that have really great matches. It's just, once again, it's just, can you book these people to actually to be stars, to connect with your crowd, to connect with your audience. And easier said than done when you have basically the creative that WWE has, that really can't make stars unless it's only one person, or if anything, like a small handful of the women, when you have Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Bianca Belair. WWE is just hurt, basically just hurt. Or it's just impossible to be invested in anything but behind the scenes and in front of the camera, whatever.
Well, I'll tell you what, speaking of whatever's coming next and how invested we can all get, as we previously mentioned, this Sunday we've got the latest version of NXT War Games. Funnily enough, no longer under the Takeover banner, and that's apparently being done away with.
Yeah,
Black
wow.
and gold truly is dead.
Well, funny you bring that up because we'll get touch on that later. But anyway,
Oh.
let's jump right into it. We're talking about NXT War Games 2021. So let's kick it off with the first match on the list, the Women's War Games match. We've got the first team consisting of Raquel Gonzalez, Io Shirai, Cora Jade, and Kaylee Ray versus Dakota Kai and Toxic Attraction. Just for the sake of classifying it quick, why don't we do team Raquel, team Kai, or team Dakota, or whatever. Team Raquel, team Dakota. Let's go with that. So, all right, pitching it over to, I believe the champ has first pick. So, Charlie, you got first pick. Who do you got for the Women's War Games match? Team Raquel or Team Dakota Kai?
Team Dakota Kai, I have for it.
Okay. Any particular reason for that pick, or just a random guess?
Just a random guess. These picks I'm doing by the seat of my pants. I have put zero thought into War Games so far.
Okay. And Tarek, you're next up. Who do you got between Team Raquel and Team Dakota?
Dakota Kai has Toxic Attraction, right?
Correctamundo.
Then they're gonna win because you got Mandy Rose, and you know how Vince McMahon is with Mandy Rose. So whichever team Mandy Rose is on,
I don't think
pick
I
that.
want to
That's
know.
my that's my reason.
Okay. Well, reasons aside,
It's more
Scholar
of a
Brian.
reason than what Charlie gave. He was like, "Yeah, I'm just guessing."
I am.
Well, he is still currently the man with the belt. So, anyway, Brian, who do you got?
I have Team Dakota Kai because you have all the champions on that team. You have Dakota Kai on that team. The Team Raquel has the advantage. Okay, they pretty much it's all foreshadowing and all that. Like, Toxic Attraction is the champions of your brand in all forms. Okay, you've got Dakota Kai, who has been being, I think Raquel Gonzalez has beat her like 4 times since in their little battles or whatever. And you've got a random outlier on the other side in Cora Jade, who's probably in there to take the pin. So that's it. So yeah, I've got Team Dakota. It's just you've got a team of stars. You've got another team of stars with one outlier, could be a star in the future, but isn't now. So it's like, yeah, okay, that's the one who's taking the pin, so that the biggest no pun intended, the biggest attraction to your women's division right now. Okay, you're not going to have them lose right when they're at the peak of their story. You're not going to have toxic attraction lose right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I gotta agree on this one. They seem to be really pushing the hell out of Toxic Attraction right now. And not for nothing, they seem to be banging on all cylinders. So I've really got no reason to go against that. So I'm gonna go with Team Dakota as well. And hopefully this this whole feud that she's got with Raquel Gonzalez is just sort of pushed to the side at this point, because as good as it was, I feel like we need to see something new from both ladies. So Team Dakota, we have a consensus all around. Next up, we've got a rare hair versus hair match between my boy Cameron Grimes and Duke Hudson, the gambler card shark boy. Tarek, it's your pick first. Who you got between Cameron Grimes and Duke Hudson?
Remember a few months ago when Cameron Grimes was actually a very entertaining thing to talk about because he was going with Ted DiBiase in the $1 Million Championship?
Yes, I do.
Those were good times. Those were good times, weren't they?
Quite.
Now I just don't care. I don't care about any of this. I'm trying my best to just be as professional about this as possible. God damn, I don't care at all.
So who's going bald, fool?
I'm going to go with Cameron Grimes because he has the most hair to actually lose.
So you're picking Duke Hudson to win.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Duke Hudson to win, and it's because I'm also thinking about, like, do I just predict on the heel losing because that's just normally the case when it comes to hair versus hair matches? I mean, has a babyface ever really lost a hair versus hair match?
So why are you going? Oh, because you want this to be the one. That's it.
Honestly, I just basically see Vince McMahon just wanting to complete. There's been reports of them wanting to change Cameron Grimes' character. So I might as well this will be the starting point of him changing it. I mean, he is already beginning because he already trimmed his beard. Which actually he looks pretty good with a trim beard compared to how he was with the longer beard. But yeah, I'm more seeing this now as just as a character change for Cameron Grimes. I don't care anymore. I really don't.
On that delightful note,
I'm trying my damnedest to make some form of like rational thought when it comes to this, but yeah, again, I don't care at all.
Well, speaking of rational thought, Brian, who do you got between Duke Hudson and Cameron Grimes?
I gotta be completely honest. I'm on Tarek's train. I do not care at all about this match, but just to be a contrarian asshole,
that's why you're my tag team partner, Brian.
I'm gonna go with Cameron Grimes because I know he's done it before. I know that he's been like bald and like short hair and all that, but like what kind of name is Duke Hudson?
That's really all you got. It's like, oh yeah, I'm picking Cameron Grimes because what the hell name is Duke Hudson?
Hey, that logic is as good as a lot of other things we've heard tonight.
Who is he and where did he come from?
Pokerland.
No idea.
Get him out
that was
of here
good.
and take his hair with him.
That was good. That got a good laugh out of me. Oh,
Get him out,
right.
that was really funny.
get Duke Hudson out of here and take his hair with him. That's it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cameron Grimes myself, just because I'm thinking strictly with my heart. I'm desperately looking for something I can get really invested in. I feel like Cameron Grimes is on a very increasingly shorter list of guys who can pull that off. So I'm going with Cameron Grimes, even though I know it's going to be a long shot. But
I'm long shot here, going for the heel and a hair versus hair match.
Oh,
Yeah,
you make a good point. Makes a good point though, and I've got a feeling that the chances are good that they might actually go that way. But then again, it looks like this could go either way. Honestly, question right now is, Charlie, what do you think?
I'm going with Cameron Grimes because I too have no idea what a Duke Hudson is.
You mean you haven't been watching NXT 2.0 and the repeated
No, what I
and the
missed-
repeated poker segments?
But
No.
I can't believe they
seriously,
actually
where did
did
he come
that.
from?
Pokerland. I told you this.
Who
I'm
is he? For real though.
Who in the blue
I can't.
hat is Duke Hudson?
He's Duke
I can't
Hudson
believe
of
they had a-
Pokerland.
I can't believe they had a
You've never
15-minute
been?
segment with poker. I love poker, but
I'm more
not
of
on a
a
wrestling show.
It
Yeah.
only works when it's the APA because they're not actually playing. That's it.
And it's a backstage segment, not an actual not an in-ring thing where they're legit playing poker.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Well,
Boy.
well, moving over to something I hope will be significantly better than this. We've got next up for the NXT tag titles, we've got Imperium versus Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. Brian, it's your pick up next. What do you got?
You know, this really all depends. This really all depends on whether Kyle O'Reilly signed a new contract or not. Because if he didn't, then they're gonna lose, and then Von Wagner's gonna kill him on his way out the door. Which is what I think is gonna happen. So I've got Imperium to win because I don't think Kyle O'Reilly signed a new contract, and it's an easy way to get Von Wagner over just a little bit more by having him beat Kyle O'Reilly on his way out the door before he actually leaves. So yeah, Imperium to retain.
I'm also going to be going with Imperium, but instead of all of that, I've got a weird feeling that, again, I've got no real evidence for any of this, but I've got a weird feeling that Von Wagner is going to turn on Kyle O'Reilly and join up with Imperium. I got no other thoughts other than that, but either way, I'm going with Imperium as well. Charlie, which one you got?
I'll be going with Imperium on this one as well.
All right,
Kyle
that's
O'Reilly is probably AEW bound, just like the rest of Undisputed Era. So we got that.
Minus Roderick Strong.
Yeah.
oh boy. I think spoilers for the future. Tarek, do we have a consensus here?
Imperium. For the win.
All right, there we go.
Because it's not. Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly's out the door. He's already gone. He's checked out already. He's ready to get the hell out of there. Much like Beth Phoenix, Scotty Too Hottie. They're all this thing. Oh yeah, it's not fun here anymore. Let's get the hell out. The main roster vibe has invaded NXT, so no one wants to be there. It's not like being called up to the main roster and being dragged away. The main roster came to you, and they already took over by taking over NXT and wiping away takeover to these damn, I can't even say pay-per-view, Peacock events, because they're not pay-per-views anymore.
There's a pun in there somewhere, but we have yet to discover it. But speaking of discoveries, that leads us to our next match for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. We've got Roderick Strong versus Joe Gacy, of all people. This one I'm going to pick first. I'm going to go with Joe Gacy to win because, like we're talking about, the writing is more or less on the wall here. Plus, I don't know about you, but I've also been hearing these rumors that they're actually going to retire the Cruiserweight Championship and they're going to turn it, or Joe Gacy is going to turn it into like an intergender inclusivity belt where they'll have some of the guys wrestle with the girls and do matches like that, which honestly kind of has the potential to be interesting, but I'm extremely hesitant at this point. But regardless of how that goes down, I'm still picking Joe Gacy to win. Charlie, it's your pick up next. Who do you got?
I don't have much of an idea of who or what a Joe Gacy is. So I'm gonna go with Roderick Strong on this.
He is woke man, the wrestler. That's the best way I can put it.
Still going with Roderick Strong.
Okay, one for Roderick, no. One for Roderick, yes. Tarek, which way you going?
Roderick, no.
I
I'm
had
not
to
picking
set you up there.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I gotta pause there. But yes, I'm also picking Joe Gacy to win. I mean, because they're dropping the whole cruiserweight of the cruiserweight title and all that. So yeah. Cool.
Okay.
It's 24/7 title bound. That's how I look at this. At least
All right.
that when it comes to that relevancy.
We've got two for Roderick,
Triple
no.
H.
One for Roderick, yes. Brian, which way you going?
Roderick, no. Joe Gacy to win just because I know that everyone is going to hate it, and I can't wait to see the chaos afterwards. Everybody hates this guy. I want Joe Gacy to win for the lulz. That's it.
I'm now more hate the fact that it's just more of my hate right now what WWE's done with NXT, even though it's like their brand. But just looking back on just all the years Triple H has done for the NXT brand, all gone. All gone. Now that like he wanted cruiserweight wrestling. Vince, nope. It's gonna be like the intergender title. You like Takeover? Nope, that's over. The name's gone. You like the black and gold? It's all colorful now. It's blasting paint all over the place. Triple H is when he comes back, he's just gonna look around. It's like, my baby. No. No.
He's gonna have another heart attack the moment he walks into the door. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh shit.
Well, where are my independent guys? No. Rebuild our start. Your independent guys mean absolutely nothing, god damn it, because they were bred here at WWE, and that's all that should matter, god damn it.
Oh boy. Well, with all that delight in front of us, that brings us at long last to our final match. Let's see. I believe that it's Charlie. It's your first pick to talk about the men's War Games match.
Black and Gold versus Nickelodeon.
Yeah, it's Black and Gold versus Nickelodeon. Team Black and Gold is Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne, and LA Knight versus Team Nickelodeon, Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Waller, and Tony D'Angelo. Pick one. Black and Gold versus Team Nickelodeon.
I don't want this changing of the guard to happen. So I'll sit here in denial and choose Team Black and Gold.
All right.
You're lucky the title's not on the line, Charlie.
I am.
You know what?
Yeah.
Stranger things have happened. That being said, Tarek, who do you got?
This match is going to be the final nail in the coffin that is the ending of the Black and Gold NXT. This is basically Vince McMahon taking Triple H's WCW and stomping all over it with his WWE NXT. This is the final. It's like, oh, what you guys love about NXT? It is long gone. It is NXT 2.0. We're talking about real people. We're talking about real superstars that could main event WrestleMania, not your silly Keith Lees or your Karrion Kross or your Adam Cole. I mean, he could have been a manager, for God's sake, on the main roster. This is what I want for NXT. This is what I want for my company. Oh, damn it.
Big beefy slabs of beef.
Motherfucker couldn't seriously picture Keith Lee as a man who could main event WrestleMania.
I'm convinced someone got into his ear and told him to change everything that got him over. I'm
Khan.
convinced of this, and it ruined him.
Well, Vince did the whole character thing, ruining himself, because apparently that was all him. But Nick Khan was the one who's like, "Oh yeah, go ahead, Johnny Ace, fire him for budget cuts." Budget cuts.
Budget
Oh,
cuts.
It's all just falling apart, man.
So who are you going with? Who's gonna come out on top? Are we going with Nickelodeon here?
Nick, Nickelodeon. Yeah, it's gonna be that final moment. It's like Black and Gold NXT is dead. Suckers.
All right, Brian, your final pick of the evening. Who do you got? Team Black and Gold or Team Nickelodeon?
I hate to say it. I don't want to say it. But out with the old, in with the new. It's got to be Team Nickelodeon.
I
No
gotta
doubt.
correct you on that. I gotta correct you on this. Out with the old, in with the beefy.
Yeah, I wish I
Hey,
could
if you
say
think
something
Carmelo
else.
Hayes is beefy at all, that's on you.
Because Braun Breaker is gonna be the one who pins. He's
Of
gonna get
course.
a
Ron
pin.
Breaker
the show's-
is their future breakout star. We all know.
He's
that.
gonna- They're probably gonna have him pin Tommaso Ciampa just so he can
No.
get his rematch.
I think that they're gonna have Braun Breaker pin Johnny Gargano on his way up. Because he signed a week-long contract just so he could have this match. So this is another thing like Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. Johnny Gargano's on his way out the door. He's Tommaso Ciampa's best friend. Braun Breaker's gonna take him out.
I'm
And
having a brain
that'll be
fart.
the
Is this the first War Games that doesn't have Undisputed Era in it?
Yeah.
yes.
I think it is.
Okay. Well, that's even more sad.
And it's actually Johnny Gargano's first. And it will be his last.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's looking like it's going to make too much sense that Team Nickelodeon is going to be going over and just taking out Johnny Gargano with that. Just at this point, I'm just hoping that later on we're going to hear some more Steiner math from Braun Breaker. There's an outside chance of that, but
I need
I
more.
think we got
I
a
need
32
more.
and third chance of winning. So Braun Breaker can still do crazy Steiner stuff, even though I'm not confident at all. Nickelodeon nick his kids. So that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you.
And with
Forrest.
that is NXT War Games, the first under the 2.0 brand. Our predictions are in. Now we want to hear your predictions. We want to hear from you all across the internet. Facebook posts, YouTube comments, our personal favorite, the Twitter accounts. Follow us at ScholarsOW for all the latest episode uploads every single week. And also follow us for our commentary, our personal accounts. Fool, where can I reach you?
You can reach me updating Wikipedia every like 20 minutes, getting the results of this pay-per-view, because I sure as hell am not watching this, at the Avataric.
Brian, where can I reach you?
You can reach me watching my TV and watching the wall, trying to figure out which one is better. On at Atomic Beanpole.
These are getting elaborate. Charlie, where can I reach you?
You can reach me continuing my streak of not watching Nickelodeon NXT 2.0 at the Charlian.
And you can follow me still trying to be optimistic through all this madness at I'm Robbie Rage. Join in the conversation, join in all the fun. We make every show better, but you already knew that because you know who we are. We're the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're welcome. I don't think
See
we can
you
make
all
this better.
at Takeover.
We can't make this one better. No.
Nah.